Welcome back. We love to dive deep into fascinating minds here. And today, we're tackling someone who really embodies that, Master Shi Heng Yi, headmaster of the Shaolin Temple Europe.
Wow.
You sent in this interview with him, and let me tell you, it's got some real gems about success, discipline, and just navigating this crazy world that we're living in.
Yeah, Master Heng Yi's perspective is so deeply rooted in Shaolin philosophy, but he has this amazing ability to connect those ancient teachings to our modern lives
Yeah.
in a way that's both profound and practical.
Okay, so for our listener who might be new to Master Heng Yi's work, he actually talks about isolation being a key ingredient to success. Isolation. That doesn't sound very Shaolin monk at first, right?
Right.
You'd think it would be all about community and training together.
It's a common misconception.
Right.
While the Shaolin tradition emphasizes community, the path to mastery often requires these periods of solitude. Master Heng Yi actually spent 2 years living in the mountains, completely isolated to deepen his own practice.
2 years. Wow. What I found interesting was that he didn't just sit in a cave meditating, though. He talks about how in those moments of solitude, he was forced to confront his own internal battles, his demons, as he calls them. And it's in those confrontations that real growth happens.
Exactly. And he uses this term, the demon hand, to represent our primal instincts, those raw, untamed parts of ourselves. It's not about denying these aspects, but about acknowledging their existence.
So how does this demon hand concept play into achieving success then? It almost sounds counterintuitive.
Master Heng Yi believes that by confronting and understanding our demon hand, we can actually harness his energy and channel it towards our goals. He often compares it to the process of forging steel.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this forging steel analogy.
So imagine a blacksmith hammering away at a piece of hot metal. It's a process of applying intense pressure, of shaping and molding the metal into something stronger, more resilient. The demon hand represents that raw material, that primal energy within us. And it's through discipline, through confronting our weaknesses, that we forge ourselves into something extraordinary.
Okay, now that's an aha moment. So it's not about pretending our flaws don't exist, but about recognizing them, working with them even.
Precisely. But there's another side to this equation, which Master Heng Yi calls the Buddha heart.
Okay.
This represents our capacity for compassion, for connection, for love.
It sounds like he's talking about balance, finding that sweet spot between the drive of the demon hand and the compassion of the Buddha heart.
Absolutely. He believes that true success isn't just about achieving these external goals, but also about cultivating inner harmony. And that requires nurturing both aspects of ourselves.
It's about finding that equilibrium within. When I first read about this emptying the cup concept, it felt a bit abstract to me. But hearing you explain it in the context of Shaolin practice, it suddenly clicked. It's about creating that space within ourselves to learn and grow.
And that's a continuous process. Just like we train our bodies physically in martial arts, we need to train our minds to let go of limiting beliefs and preconceived notions. It's about approaching life with a beginner's mind, with a sense of curiosity and openness to new possibilities.
So how does one actually empty their cup in a practical sense? That's what I'm really curious about. Is it meditation? Is it some secret Shaolin technique?
It can be different things for different people. But Master Heng Yi stresses the importance of self-reflection, of creating space for stillness and introspection in our often hectic lives.
That makes sense. It's not about erasing everything we know, but it's about creating that mental flexibility to take in new information and learn from our experiences. Kind of like how in martial arts you have to master the basic stances before you can move on to the more complex movements.
Yes, Master Heng Yi often talks about the importance of building a strong foundation. He compares our subconscious mind to the roots of a tree. If the roots are strong and healthy, the tree can withstand even the fiercest storms.
So how do we tend to those subconscious roots, according to Master Heng Yi?
He's a big proponent of mindfulness practices, meditation, journaling, spending time in nature. These things help us become more aware of our thoughts and emotions, those deeply ingrained patterns that often hold us back.
This whole idea of subconscious programming is fascinating. It's like we're running on autopilot half the time, unaware of the underlying beliefs and assumptions that are driving our behavior.
And it's not just our own experiences that shape those subconscious patterns. Master Heng Yi talks about the concept of ancestral wisdom, how the energy of our ancestors can influence us on a subconscious level.
Okay, now that's getting really interesting. So it's not just nature versus nurture, but this whole other layer of ancestral energy at play.
Exactly. He believes that we carry the wisdom and trauma of our ancestors within us, and that understanding this lineage can be a powerful tool for personal growth.
We often hear people talk about the importance of self-care, especially in our fast-paced world. How does Master Heng Yi view self-care through the lens of Shaolin teachings?
He actually prefers to use the term self-love, and he sees it as an essential part of cultivating inner harmony. He believes that when we truly love and accept ourselves' flaws, in all way we can then extend that love and compassion to others.
It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Precisely. And self-love isn't just about indulging in bubble baths and face masks. It's about setting healthy boundaries, honoring our needs, and treating ourselves with kindness and respect.
It's about recognizing our own worthiness, which can be a struggle for a lot of people, myself included.
Absolutely. And Master Heng Yi reminds us that we all have an inner light, a spark of divinity within us. Sometimes it gets buried under self-doubt and negative self-talk, but it's always there.
It makes you wonder how much of our potential is locked away because we haven't learned to truly love and accept ourselves.
That's a powerful question. And it's something Master Heng Yi encourages us to reflect on. He believes that when we tap into that inner light, that's when we can truly shine our brightest and make a difference in the world.
But it's not always easy to access that inner light, is it? Especially when we're bombarded with so much negativity and self-doubt, both internally and from the outside world.
He acknowledges that it takes effort, it takes practice. He actually compares it to training a muscle. The more we exercise our self-love muscle, the stronger it becomes. And it's in those moments of struggle when we're tempted to give in to self-doubt that we have the greatest opportunity for growth.
So it's about facing those internal battles, those demon hand moments, with compassion and understanding, rather than judgment.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're all a work in progress and that it's okay to make mistakes, to stumble along the way.
We've talked a lot about the internal work, but Master Heng Yi also addresses the challenges of navigating our ever-changing world, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Mm-hmm.
He actually sees these turbulent times as an opportunity for collective awakening. He believes that as a society, we're being called to reevaluate our values, our priorities, and our relationship with the planet.
So it's not about going back to the good old days, but about creating something new, something better. It's like we're in a collective process of emptying the cup on a global scale.
That's a powerful way to put it. Master Heng Yi believes that true transformation happens when we're willing to let go of outdated beliefs and systems that no longer serve us. He often uses the analogy of a snake shedding its skin.
Okay, I'm really liking this analogy. Tell me more.
So just like a snake outgrows its old skin, we as a society have outgrown certain ways of thinking and being. It can be uncomfortable, even painful at times, but it's a necessary part of growth and evolution.
So how do we navigate this shedding process, this collective transformation, without getting overwhelmed by the chaos of it all?
Master Heng Yi emphasizes the importance of focusing on what we can control our own thoughts, actions, and responses to the challenges we face. He reminds us that even in the midst of uncertainty, we always have a choice in how we show up in the world.
That reminds me of something he said in the interview about finding stillness amidst movement.
Yes. He talks about how in Shaolin Kung Fu, they practice a form called Zan Suang, or standing like a tree. It looks deceptively simple. You stand still, rooted to the ground. But there's actually a lot going on internally. You're cultivating strength, stability, and awareness, even as the world swirls around you.
So it's about finding that inner peace, that groundedness, even when external circumstances feel chaotic.
Precisely. And from that place of inner stillness, we can then respond to challenges with more clarity, wisdom, and compassion.
It's about being the eye of the storm, not getting swept away by the winds of change.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the importance of balance, which is a recurring theme in Master Heng Yi's teachings. He reminds us that just like in nature, there are cycles of growth and decay, of light and darkness, of activity and rest.
And trying to resist those cycles only creates more suffering.
Precisely. It's about learning to flow with the rhythms of life, to embrace the full spectrum of human experience, both the highs and the lows.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive, but there's one question that keeps coming back to me. It's something Master Heng Yi said towards the end of the interview. He asked, if you could meet your future self, what advice would they give you?
Yes. That's a powerful question, isn't it? It forces us to consider who we want to become, what legacy we want to leave behind.
It's almost like a compass pointing us towards our highest potential.
And maybe, just maybe, by aligning ourselves with that future vision, by embodying the wisdom and compassion of our future selves, we can create a more harmonious and fulfilling present moment, both for ourselves and for the world around us.
It makes you think, doesn't it? And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder that question. If you could meet your future self, what wisdom would they share with you? Until next time, keep diving deep and keep those questions coming.